What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. The importance of an established legacy in bodybuilding, especially for an Olympia champion, cannot be overstated. But how is that legacy going to be left with the fans of the sport around the world? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to EP09 Bodybuilding, and we are now hearing rumors circulating of Big Ramy returning to the Olympia stage in 2025, as reported by Who Is the Best BB on Instagram, as well as AJ Kellyrobert. We are hearing reports of Big Ramy's return, apparently being reported as being confirmed by this reporter Ashraf El Hafi, and I apologize for the pronunciation of that name. It says here, based on the statement of Mr. Nasser El Masabi, the official sponsor of Big Ramy, he will participate in the Mr. Olympia 2025. Apparently, this Ashraf is a very well-known, very respected reporter in the Middle East when it comes to bodybuilding. And with these claims being reported, AJ Kellyrobert also saying that he has spoken with several high players in the USA, and they did give him some positive feedback that it might be true. And that's the thing about might be true. Until we hear this directly from Big Ramy, I don't think that the bodybuilding world is even going to consider this to be even remotely true. We have to hear it from the man himself, and I think more importantly, we have to see a physique update, because if Big Ramy is going to come back, even if he does decide to come back and is only a shadow of his former self, then personally, I don't think that it's worth tarnishing any further the reputation of two-time Olympia champion Big Ramy. We have to hear it directly from the man himself. And the fact of the matter is, the last time we saw Big Ramy on stage, he was not necessarily at his best. And that can have an effect on your legacy as well. Not finishing at your best as an Olympia champion can certainly affect that. So I do want to see Big Ramy come back, but only if he's going to be much improved from what we've been seeing from the last couple of showings. And I don't know if we're going to see that. We have seen bodybuilders negatively affect their reputation after they have retired from the stage. Kai Green comes to mind after several times saying he's going to return and never, ever followed through on it. I wouldn't want to see Big Ramy in that type of situation. So until we hear from Big Ramy directly, well, frankly, that's when I think I'll actually believe it. The Canadian bodybuilding scene is at its strongest, I think, that it has ever been in the history of the sport. And one of those reasons is because of this competitor right here, Robin Strand, a good friend of the channel, host of the Canadian Beef podcast. This guy blew up in the offseason. This is unbelievable. Look at the size factor that we are seeing from Robin Strand. I mean, he looks like an entirely different person from what we last saw. This guy can get crazy peeled when he's actually on the stage. Now, the size factor with that conditioning, he's going to be very, very dangerous, I think, in the 2025 season. Currently planning on competing, I believe, at the Legion Sports Fest. I'll have to confirm that with Robin directly, but I believe that's what he's aiming for. He's going to be going up against some pretty heavy hitters. Tony O'Burton, currently confirmed for the Legion Sports Fest. And as we heard on the latest episode of the Bodybuilding Breakdown, we also will have the newcomer Colossus Ken, who carries a substantial amount of size himself. So that'll be a very interesting battle for Tony O, who also has put on some size, to go up against some of these mass monsters. This is going to be a battle. I do think that this will be the best season for Robin Strand to date. And as always, the goal for Robin, get that qualification and get on the Olympia stage. He is definitely getting closer and closer every single season to achieving that goal. And in the right lineup, this could be his year. With another weekly update from our current Mr. Olympia champion, Samson Dauda, looking to regain his Arnold Classic title as well. And he is, I think, definitely on track to do exactly that. He looks absolutely ridiculous. He looks ready at 6 weeks out of the show. And it seems like that's the strategy for Samson this time around. Get ready early, get over to the States, fill out that frame, and come in and regain that title. And I think that is exactly what is going to happen. This is going to be a very difficult package of Samson Dauda to defeat. And it looks like he's actually put on size in all the right places. The arms, I think, look bigger. Like when he hits that front double bicep, I think there's a little bit more sweep to the triceps in the front. The back, I mean, considering that it was not that long ago that everyone considered this to be Samson's weak point, it looks absolutely ridiculous. The conditioning factor, I think, is going to be there for our current champion. This guy is going to be very, very difficult to come in and try and defeat. When you look at updates from competitors like Andrew Jack at this point, or even Derek Lunsford at this point, they are not this far ahead in the conditioning department. Samson definitely having that over his competition right now, but you got to consider that this guy has so much momentum behind him right now. He is feeling it 100%. He knows that he has continued to improve, and he knows that this is his title for the taking. If he does show up and he doesn't necessarily nail that peak, well, he may leave the door open for guys like Andrew Jack. I mean, you can't discount the fact that Derek Lunsford is a former Mr. Olympia champion, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Samson is on point here. The conditioning in the quads, the separation, the striations in the teardrops. I mean, there is nothing indicating that Samson will do any less than coming in and winning that title. And what a start to the 2025 season. I don't think we'll see Samson back on stage until the 2025 Olympia, but there's one thing that we know for sure. Samson is very, very active on his social media. So although it may be the last time that we see him on stage until the Olympia, it is certainly not the last time that we will see, I think, very impressive updates from Samson Dauda moving forward. Rounding out this video with a physique update from Nick Walker, one of the first updates that we've actually seen in quite some time, especially when it comes to the legs. That has been the one thing in question, and the legs are looking absolutely fantastic, I think, in this update. It actually does look like Nick has gained a little bit more quad sweep. I think you can definitely see the difference in the overall width of the legs. He does look more balanced from top to bottom, and I certainly don't think it's because Nick has lost any size in the upper body. Nick recently appearing on the Mutant and the Mouth podcast with his training coach Jared Feather, and they spoke about how they did change up the leg training program quite a bit, actually pulling back on a lot of volume, but still allowing for maximum optimization of muscle growth when it comes to the training, rest and recovery. Nick saying that he really has problems when it comes to pulling back on his training. And with a guy like Jared Feather taking the reins on his training and really finding the formula for Nick to continue to make progress is exactly what Nick needed. So I think that this is definitely very promising. Now, Nick not having the best tie into the hip when it comes to the outer quad sweep, but you know, for what Nick does have, this is definitely an improvement. And I think that Nick is going to gain some redemption going into the 2025 season. The Pittsburgh Pro going to be a very good test for what could be the latest and greatest version of Nick Walker. And I think Nick is taking more of the route of the underdog when it comes to coming into this 2025 season. And that's where he's done very well, being in that position in the past. Nick saying when everyone thinks you don't have it anymore, which I actually do want to rebuttal just a little bit. I posted on Nick's Instagram myself, and I said that, you know, a lot of the bodybuilding world, I think, has come around to Nick making a return and it being at his best. Look at what was just said on Olympia TV recently. You know, they did an entire segment on how anybody that wants to count out Nick Walker is going to be making a huge mistake going into this season. Nick most definitely cannot be counted out. I have never counted Nick out, despite the fact that he ended up missing 2 Olympias, despite the fact that he had absolute chaos when it came to his camp with Matt Jansen. There is definitely still a lot to be said for a guy that has won the Arnold Classic, took 5th place at his first Olympia, 3rd place at his second Olympia. The story is certainly not finished for Nick Walker. You guys let me know what you think of this current version of Nick Walker, and let me know if you do think that we will see Nick at his best in the 2025 season. But I'm going to wrap up the video right here. Thank you guys for tuning in to EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.